Now, I had another person ask me the exact same question. They're like, how do you ship it? And of course, just having answered the other one, I said, well, this is how I ship it. And I physically told them what I do. And they're like, no. How do you ship it? Like, who do you ship it with? I'm like, you can't win for losing. Hello everybody, thanks for joining us over here on Commonwealth Flipper. And more than likely, if you're watching this, you saw this on Commonwealth Picker. I mentioned it over there because I had some people ask me some questions about a large item. So here's a Christmas tree that I sold. I buy these at Walmart for 10 bucks a pop. And I sell them throughout the year, but mainly in November. And I sell them for 40 bucks plus shipping. And I had viewers ask me, I usually buy about 15 of them or so. It's kind of a way of, it's my own little Christmas savings account, if you will. We end up making about $20 profit off of them, give or take a few dollars on either side. And it's kind of how I save money for Christmas without actually saving it. I buy these for 10 bucks, I sell them for 40 near Christmas, and that's $300 extra that I have in order to buy Christmas presents. You know, it's maybe 100 bucks a piece for my 3 kids. And so it's kind of my own little Christmas savings account. At any rate, there are people that have asked me about how I ship them. And so the first person that asked me said, how do you ship those Christmas trees? And I answered it, well, I ship it, FedEx or priority mail or parcel post. I put them all out there as options, and I do calculated shipping on them. I hope somebody uses priority mail because I'm gonna get a bigger discount on that, and I'm gonna make the money back that I have to pay on fees for it and a little bit extra. But most of the time, people will do FedEx ground or they'll do parcel post. So that's typically how we ship it. But then I put that in my response and they said, no, I mean physically, how do you ship this thing? And so I want to talk about how I ship it, and I think you might be surprised, and I want to know what you do out there. Now, I had another person ask me the exact same question. They're like, how do you ship it? And of course, just having answered the other one, I said, well, this is how I ship it, and I physically told them what I do. And they're like, no. How do you ship it? Like, who do you ship it with? And I'm like, you can't win for losing. So I'm going to cover both of them. I think I pretty much have already covered how I do the shipping. As far as calculated is definitely, you're not going to do a flat rate shipper on this. You're just not going to do it. It's too much risk. If it was higher priced and you're making a bigger profit on it, yeah. But you literally could lose money doing a free ship on an item like this. Even if you have a $30 margin, you could still lose money if you don't do calculated shipping on an item like that. So I brought another item because I wanted to show you that this doesn't apply just to Christmas trees here. So I brought this other item, which is it's a vintage Bissell. And you can just look at how vintage that thing is, how that square Bissell looks, and even the puppy dog down here. And it's brand new in the box. It's never even been opened. And it still has all the styrofoam. You can feel how secure it is. So I'm going to show you what I would do with something like this and how I would ship this thing. Now, when you're dealing with items that are this big, an inch or two either direction could really make a big difference depending on who you're shipping with and how far it's going. Same thing with an item like this back here. So what I'll do on an item like this in my listing is in the description, I'll often put, hey, I'm going to ship this thing in the box. I'm going to ship it exactly like it is. And if you don't want it shipped that way, please send me a message beforehand. And I have had people send me a message beforehand, not just on items like this, but on an item like this back here. And they say, look, this is a present, this is a gift, and it needs to be, in a box. And I said, okay, no problem. And I'll do it. But if that's not the case, I'm just going to ship it as is. Most people don't buy Christmas trees as Christmas gifts, although I suppose it happens now and again. And so I'll ship it just like this. Now, this isn't the best cardboard in the world, but it's pretty good. Here's the deal. If I ship it just like this and they're okay with it, a lot of times I'll send them a message. As soon as they buy it, I'll send them a message and I'll say, hey, I'm going to ship it just like this, just in case they didn't read the description. Let me know if that's not okay with you. And then I wait 24 hours. If they haven't responded, I ship it like this. I have sold hundreds of trees over the years, and I have never had a complaint, never once. So I'm not saying it's going to be perfect every single time. It won't be. Somebody will do this and it won't work and you'll yell at me. But I'm just telling you what I do. And so usually what I do is I put extra tape because the seams here, I just tape the heck out of this thing. If I see any damage like that cut right there, I'll tape over that. There's one right here, I'll tape over that. Now, you'd be surprised to know that the biggest danger for shipping something like this is on the inside. These things aren't packed perfectly well in here. This thing is back here. And so the sharp objects on the inside, if it's jostled too much, they could come through. So sometimes what I'll do, depending on where it's going to in a location, if it's going to a location that is, you know, rainy or snowy that time of year, I'm gonna put something around it. Or I'll leave that as an option to the buyer in the description. Or if they say, hey, this is gonna be a gift and I want it put in a box, I'll tell them that I'm gonna put it in one of these heavy contractor bags. And these things are really, really heavy. And I'm gonna do that today with this one, and I'm gonna let you see how I do it. It's not a thing of beauty because it is a bag and you're trying to make this thing look good, and you end up trying to cut it to the right size and you put a lot of tape on it, but it's gonna protect it from moisture and it's gonna protect anything from protruding out of it, and that's the key. For something like this, you don't want one of these little things to come out and get stuck on something and then tear the box open. So that's why these things are helpful. Now, I don't want to take full credit for this. I've been doing this kind of thing for a long time, and I've been doing it with really big poly bags. I think there's even one bigger than this. But I watched Craigslist Hunter years ago do it with this contractor bag, and I thought that's a great idea, and that's where I got the idea, so I want to give him credit, and I've been using it ever since. This item back here is even a better example. This thing's still in styrofoam. It's packed perfectly. If I had the perfect size box for this thing, I would put it in a box, no doubt. Wouldn't even bother with the other stuff. But if I don't have the perfect size box for it, I'm just gonna put that big giant contractor bag around it, tape it shut, protect it from the elements, make sure that there's no stickers on it anywhere, just in case by chance this person's giving away as a gift, or they don't want to know where it's being sent, or anything like that. If nothing else, it's a good presentation. It's a lot better than just shipping it like this. So go ahead and pick some of those contractor bags up, and if you have a good example of something that you think it will work for, go ahead and give it a shot and see how it works. All right, I'm gonna show you how I do this. This Christmas tree sometimes needs just a tiny bit of extra to cover up the top because the bag's not quite big enough, but it's usually like an inch, and that's about it. So thanks for joining me today. I'm gonna turn the volume off here because I like, when I'm doing my shipping, I like to listen to some music. And I think I have a little bit of Glenn Miller in there today, and maybe a little bit of Hank Williams, probably senior, but maybe throw in some junior. So I'll see you next time, and enjoy.